What's that?
Mark Hamill as Cockknocker.
Mark Hamill as Cockknocker Earth Prime. But then we have to do Cockknocker from like Earth B, which is David Duchovny, because that was originally who was going to play the part. Duchovny read the script. He saw Dogma. He's a big fan of Dogma. He did the content. He liked it. He'd done an episode, directed an episode of the X-Files, which had dealt with religious arcana and stuff like that. And so his agent called my agent, was like, David wants to meet Kevin Smith. We were meeting people for Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Met like all of Hollywood, re-met all of Hollywood and shit. Like including, I had a fucking meeting with Matthew McConaughey. Could you imagine Matthew McConaughey fucking in that movie? It's crazy. So, right on. So, J.K. Lemmon. So David Duchovny, I go meet with him at, where were we? There's a restaurant I'd like to eat at, but they got one in fucking, god damn it. I haven't eaten there in a while because I went vegan. We used to eat there all the time. It's a bougie restaurant in Los Angeles that people go to. The Ivy! And they have one in Santa Monica. So we're at the Ivy in Santa Monica and I'm eating with Duchovny and shit like that. And he's like, I love Dogma. It's really amazing. Like, I love what you did. I just want to work with you. I think you're brilliant. And he goes, what are you doing next? I was like, I'm ashamed to tell you. I was like, remember those characters, Jay and Silent Bob? He's like, yeah, they were funny. I was like, I'm making a whole movie about them. And he's like, what's it called? I was like, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. And he goes, well, let me read it. And I was like, I'm kind of embarrassed to let you read it, man, especially if you like Dogma. It is not fucking Dogma. I was like, on Dogma, I put up with a lot of shit from religious people who wanted to kill us and whatnot. I just wanted to make a movie that ain't gonna get anybody fucking mad, and so that's Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. And he goes, let me read it. And so I gave him a copy of the script. And he fucking called me, because I gave him my number at the end of the thing, he gave me his number. He called me at the end of that night and he goes, I have to play Cockknocker. I was like, are you kidding me? He goes, there's a guy whose only function in the movie is to punch people in the balls with a giant fist and his name is Cockknocker. That's the role I was born to play. So I was like, fucking done and done, man. So it was gonna be Duchovny forever and shit. And Duchovny was making a movie with, interestingly enough, the guy we mentioned way long ago, Ivan Reitman. One of the movies he waited a long time. He was like, I'll do this. It was a movie called Evolution, which had Sean William Scott in it and stuff like that. So David Duchovny's in that movie. That movie went over schedule and David couldn't break off to do our thing. He called me up. He was like, I'm really disappointed because I really wanted to punch people in the balls. I was like, one day, David, one day. And so the casting agent was just like, the casting director was like, what do we do? Where do we go? And I was like, well, like, what's Mark Hamill doing right now? She's like, Mark Hamill from Star Wars? I was like, yeah, man, like, because then I could rock some, like, blunt saber shit in here, and, like, really, I was just trying to figure out how I can fucking make it so that I could have my own lightsaber fight with Luke Skywalker and shit, and make everybody watch. So we reached out to Mark Hamill, and Mark tells the story better than I, of course, because he was at ground zero for the receiving of the offer and stuff. But when Mark was offered the part, his first reaction was like, oh God, no. And then mercifully, his kids were just at the right age. And they were like, you have to do this. And he's like, why? And they're like, Jay and Silent Bob, Dad. And he was like, who is that? And it would change his fucking life. So he did it. He told me, he's like, I'm here because of my kids. My kids have only asked me to do two things. The Simpsons and this. And so I was like, I love your fucking kids and shit like that. Then when he wound up with face paint on his, he was like, I don't love my kids. So he was our Cockknocker and shit, but Duchovny was our Cockknocker back in the day, so I would have to do a multiverse where fucking Duchovny was also a Cockknocker as well. Then I'd need a female one. We tried to get a woman Cockknocker for Jay and Silent Bob reboot. For like, remember in the scene, like when they're showing the movie, the fist comes through the wall and stuff? That was like a placeholder, because I was like, all right, we'll find somebody. Someone fucking famous will come and we'll stick them in. Sarah Silverman would have been nice, fucking anybody would have been fucking cool and shit. And then I realized later on, the perfect fucking person would have been Kevin James. Because the whole movie we name check him, and if he showed up as Cockknocker, it would have been awesome, but I'm not Adam Sandler, so I don't know Kevin James. Anyway, back to you. You were about to ask something and you sat down because I was talking again. How are you? What's your name?
My name is Lizzie.
And we'll give it up for Lizzie!
First of all, I want to give you a gift.
Uh-oh.
Yep. behalf of everybody who's ever collected autographs and dealt with those assholes with the FedEx envelopes, here's a nickname you can use for them. The Graffarazzi.
The Graffarazzi. That's funny. I've never heard that before. I'm not going to say that to their faces. My mother would be so mad at me if she's like, you made them feel bad about themselves, Tiger. My mother was like a fucking David and Goliath episode. Everything was like a moral lesson. Jesus doesn't want that, son. Yes, Mom. Jesus didn't want dogma either, but I fucking did it. Anyway, back to you, Lizzie.
No problem. My question is, music is a huge part of your movies. And
is it? I never think about it like that.
yeah, there are so many moments where you just pick the right song. You know, I'm thinking Smashing Pumpkins. For
Oh, what a
example.
great choice, yeah.
And I wanted to know what your process is for picking songs, and I know no spoilers or anything about the plot, the characters. Can we get an idea of if there's a special song in Clerks 3?
Yeah, God bless you. Absolutely.
And can we get a hint maybe of what that might be?
I'll spoil the whole fucking thing for you, man. I've seen it so many fucking times. Music for me is always an afterthought, to be honest with you, generally speaking. Every once in a while I'll write a song into the script or something like that, but I don't work that way. John Hughes was the exact opposite. I read his liner notes, I think on the Breakfast Club or something, and he said expressly, music is never an afterthought with me. Like, he wrote the songs in, he would make mixtapes, like Richard Linklater does the same thing. Joey told me on Dazed and Confused, he gave every actor like a mixtape of what their character would have listened to in the 70s and shit like that. That's deep cuts, wonderful. I ain't got time for shit like that. So, generally speaking, I write my script. Every once in a while, there's a thought of a song somewhere and stuff, but I don't pour that into the screenplay unless I know I need a song for a particular moment. So, case in point, Zach and Miri make a porno. We use the song "Hey" by the Pixies. Like, I wrote that into the script because I saw it and I was like, well, I want to compose the shots to this and shit. It's fun when you get to use music because essentially you're just making a music video. You know, basically you're putting together a bunch of images, trying to hit and land on the beat and stuff like that. It's fun. So, Clerks 3, for the last, ever since the heart attack, which is when the movie kind of redefined. I'd written a different version of Clerks 3, oddly enough, that took place outside of a movie theater the whole time. And we wound up doing a completely different version after the heart attack. The plot of Clerks 3 is that Randall has a massive heart attack, lives through it, and it was just like, you've seen the trailer, I've wasted my life, I'm gonna fucking make a movie and shit like that. So I've been thinking about that incarnation of Clerks for like a long time, since the heart attack. And I had plenty of time to fucking plan. So I knew the opening of the movie, like in my head and heart, as long as we can afford it and shit. And I thought we could afford it because the guy recorded it with his buddies as a friend and shit, and also a local Jersey band called My Chemical Romance. And so the opening track to Clerks 3 is Welcome to the Black Parade. And it is fucking beautiful. It's, I wish to God I brought my laptop with me and shit. I left it locked up at the hotel and shit. We could have fucking watched the first 5 minutes because I showed it at Comic-Con and stuff, sorry. But the whole opening 5 minutes of the movie is just that song, no dialogue, and it's just them opening the store and playing hockey on the roof. It just kind of sets the tone for the whole thing. And it plays magically, and it has nothing to do with the filmmaker, it has everything to do with what an epic song that is. And all I had to do was like make some cool cuts, land on the beats in order for, you know, it to kind of fucking hit. It's fun. I don't work like that all the time, but like for a sequence like that, generally speaking, I don't do like opening montages. I just kind of start the movie or whatever the fuck, people talking and shit like that. But this is just like, let's just come back to the world, and let's come back to the world in this sonically beautiful, powerful way. And underneath it, it's like, hey, they're also Jersey kids as well. Like, there's so many levels to it and stuff. So that one is one of my absolute fucking favorite, and it plays great. Tusk, which was not written into the script. I listened to Fleetwood Mac's Tusk over and over while I was writing the script. That's why Tusk is fucked up like it is. But when it came time to make the movie, I made the flick, and I was cutting it together, and I cut the sequence where we used Tusk to Fleetwood Mac's Tusk, and constantly told everybody this is just a placeholder. We're never using this song. I just want something to cut to, and I just picked this song and shit like that. But we'll do something else, or it'll probably be score later on. Chris Drake did our score, so maybe Chris will do a piece there. But the financiers and everyone who watched the movie fell in love with the song. They're like, that is the fucking song. We got to go for it. And I was like, it's going to be expensive. Music back then, I think it's a little bit different now, but music back then, particularly when we were making Tusk and shit, very expensive. You know, there's two fees that you got to pay, which is the artist and then the publishing as well. So whoever owns the publishing on the music, they also get a fee. And it's basically one fee doubled. So, you know, case in point, like, let's see, we got very, I'm trying to think of a song. Well, I'll just fucking go with the Fleetwood Mac song. So there we are with Tusk, and my producers are like, we're gonna actually, bless you, we're gonna try to get Tusk, we're gonna reach out to Fleetwood Mac. And I was like, it's gonna be a high price quote, I assure you. And they did, and they reached out, and the quote that Lindsey Buckingham gave, because he's the one that I guess is responsible for Tusk particularly. I had worked with Fleetwood Mac once before on Jersey Girl, and I got to meet Stevie Nicks. She was the one that had to approve when we used Landslide. She came to a screening and shit. We sat there, chit-chatted with her afterwards. I was like, oh my God, my brother's gay, and he told me to tell you that if there was any woman in the world he'd fuck, it would be you. And she was like, I hear that from every gay man. So I dealt with her on that, and that was easy, but it was expensive. It was like $100 grand, $125 to secure Landslide. For Jersey Girl, but that was like a $25 million movie, whatever the fuck it was, $30 million movie, so they could afford it and shit. Here, I was like, you know, the fucking Tusk is all of $4 million, but $3 million, that's a $3 million fucking movie. So I was like, there's no way that we're gonna get a price quote on this song that makes any sense that we could afford it. And sure enough, the price quote came back from Lindsey Buckingham. Lindsey Buckingham wanted us so badly not to use this song that he priced it at $250,000. Wow. That cost more than the walrus suits in the entire movie. It would have been the most expensive element in the fucking movie. So I was like, kids, in good conscience, I can't do this. And the producers were just like, we're doing it. And they fucking paid for it and shit. So it was a very expensive fucking piece of music. I didn't intend for it to be. I didn't write it into the screenplay. It wasn't like, I've always had this dream and shit. It was kind of a temporary placeholder that turned into a very expensive commitment and shit. But I'll be honest with you, it's wonderful in that sequence in the movie when it fucking kicks in. You know, you're watching a movie called Tusk. Sooner or later, one of two things is going to happen. Somebody's going to play Tusk, or somebody's going to play I Am the Walrus, Boo Boo Goo Goo. So, you know, we gave him the fucking more predictable two. Did that even answer your question, or did I tell a Tusk story for no reason?
It's amazing, but just remember something. George Carlin said that comedy has a rhythm and a cadence like music, and the punchline and the crescendo. That makes you a songwriter through your work.
I don't know.
Think about it. If comedy,
I don't know about that.
Comedy is.
That's like putting me next to Brad Pitt and you're a man like him. And I'm like, well, I'm a man.
If comedy is music, then you are a songwriter and a virtuoso.
Fucking well. Thank you for that.